Okay, guys, most of you suck at sales. I've made over $2 million in the last 2 years wholesaling real estate, and it's all thanks to a clear sales process, a clear script, and understanding of the seller psychology. Most of you blame the leads, but it's actually your sales skills. You treat this as a side hustle and not a business. And remember, we got into this business to actually make money. So if you don't make any money, you can't help out your parents, your family. You can't buy the cool cars, the watches, the houses. So pay attention because I'm going to be breaking down the exact system and sales process from A to Z that we use to make millions of dollars while beating out other wholesalers, investors, and even agents that have the same leads. So just copy me, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be sharing the best information that I've learned from hiring, investing with all the best mentors and coaches, and I'm just going to bring it all to you for free. So subscribe to the channel and let's get on with the video. One of the biggest issues that I see is that people go into wholesaling without a script or like fundamentally understanding how to do any sort of like sales process and just go out making offers, stupid offers without getting anything signed. Remember, we got into this to get deals, not just to send out stupid offers. So the problem is that most wholesalers wing it and they get inconsistent results. And without a script, you have no understanding of the seller psychology. You're going to lose out on deals, and then you have no replicable sales process. But with a sales script and a sales process, you are able to have more confidence, have control, and have more consistency because you got to remember the people that sell to you, they are distressed, they are dealing with something. So our main goal is to find out exactly what do we need to solve in order for them to sell us their property so that we can make a profit. There's a big like value discrepancy between what we can give them and the value that we provide. So we got to be able to help them overcome all those things in order to move forward. But once you understand this, you're going to be closing way more deals, and think of it as like a playbook that removes all the guesswork. Now, we follow a 3-step sales process. It's broken into the intro, the appointment call, and the offer call. The whole goal with the intro is to qualify the lead and find out if they are urgent to sell, meaning if we come to a fair agreement with a property, are they ready to sell? Yes or no? And number two is, are they motivated? So typically people are walking away from pain or they're running towards pleasure. So usually you're going to get more people that are motivated. So the whole goal of this intro call is to qualify it with motivation and urgency. If they are qualified, then you set up the appointment call with the closer, and then the goal with the closer is to build as much rapport as possible with the seller and find the hidden bunnies and the motivation and find out exactly what we need to solve in order for them to move forward, right? So they need to build that rapport and that permission and earn that trust to negotiate and to give them like a low offer so that we can negotiate, right? But after you do that, we do the offer call. So we do something called same side selling, meaning the closer and the seller kind of team up together against me, the big bad partner, because I'm the one that says how much the property qualifies for in order for the closer to build as much rapport as possible with the seller. That way we can make it happen. Now, our script is broken into a couple things, right? So number one, you get the intro, which the goal is, like I said, to build the rapport and to qualify the lead. Number two, we're gonna go over like expectations. We always let them know what's going on, how long it's gonna take the phone call, what the result will be, what the agenda is, and that they have the permission to say no. And then we want to dig deep into the motivation. This is where the whole like discount comes from because we need to solve something in order for them to sell the property. Remember, you're buying the property for 50-60% of the value, so you got to be able to sell something big in order to get paid accordingly. So your main goal is to find what the pain point is and what we need to solve. Of course, we need to talk about the property details to get the hard facts, to get a rehab amount. And then we want to talk about like roadblocks. So things like influencers, people who have an input on the property, timeline. Is there any discomfort that we need to solve before moving forward? How much money do they want? And then the last one is the close and the next steps, which is like set the decision and keep on going with the actual process. Now, let's go into the first script, which is the intro call, right? So this is where your lead manager is going to call the lead in order to find out if they're motivated and if they're urgent. So what we don't want to do is to sound like everyone else. So usually our leads come from inbound channels like Facebook and PPC. We crush with Facebook, but basically it's gonna come with inbound. And you can say something along the lines of like, "Hey, this is so and so with ABC company. We saw you submitted your information on our Facebook. What about the admin? You want to look into this a little bit further?" And then you want to get them talking, and then you want to ask them like, "Hey, okay, can you catch me up to speed with what's going on with the property?" And then you want to go into the setting the expectations. "Hey, thank you for taking my call. Is it okay if I share with you how we work and how we can get you an offer before we get started?" Yes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions about the property and the situation. And if you feel that we're not going to be a good fit at any point, please let me know, and I'm going to do the same. Does that sound fair enough? Yes. Okay. And if we're a good fit, we're basically going to set an appointment with a home buying specialist who will present you the offer in order to your situation. Does that sound fair? Okay, great. And then you go into the property condition. You want to confirm the bedrooms, baths, any remodeling done, the age of the HVAC, roof, all that stuff. Who's living at the property? You have tenants. Is it occupied? Is it vacant? Any repairs needed to the property? And then after you do that checking, you want to go into the timeline. Like, hey, we just sold some properties. I mean, if we took a look into your property and we got a fair price for it, you're definitely ready to sell it, right? This is how we check the urgency if they're ready to sell right now. And then we also tell them like, hey, if we agreed on a price today, how soon were you looking to start the process of selling your home? And then they're going to say something like 30 days to 3 months, 60 plus. That way we can cater our offer if we're going to do like a cash offer or an innovation offer, depending on their timeline. And then after that, we want to go into the roadblocks. So basically, we want to know if there's any influencers. Hey, is there anyone who would have an input in the decision to sell this property? They usually have a spouse, realtor, family member, someone they need to talk to. So as long as we are aware of those, we want to be, addressing those and be sure that they're involved in this process. And then we kind of want to go into the motivation. Hey, Mr. Seller, I know that we've been talking on the phone for a little bit. Can you let me know like what even has you looking into selling right now? And we're trying to find out if there's motivation or if there's not any motivation. If there's no motivation, think okay. So rather than you just like inquiring, you have no reason to sell, and then that's when you kind of go for no and be like, hey, it sounds like you're just kind of curious about an offer and not ready to sell. I mean, we're actually committed to buy 3 4 properties this month. So with that being said, I mean, I don't think we're going to be a good fit. Would be okay if I reach out to you in the next couple of days and then see if anything changed, and then basically go from there, right? Or if they said no, and ask them like, okay, well, I mean, were how much we're looking to get for the property. But if basically they give you the reason what they wanted to sell, you want to dig a little bit deeper, and find out what's going on. Like, hey, it seems like X, Y, and Z. It feels like it's affecting you this, and like that. You can do something like, hey, how long has this been going on? Can you tell me more about that? Have you done anything in the past to fix it? How does that make you feel? When you say this, what exactly do you mean? You want to ask more questions to see the full picture of what's going on. And then after you ask like these questions, you want to ask them like, hey, if you decide to sell, where do you think you might go? Why there? Because we want to find out, okay, do they have that solved, or we need to help them solve it, right? Because if you just give it an offer and they don't know where to go, I mean, you have no deal because you need to buy the property, right? So you need to uncover any sort of like potential roadblock. And then after that, we go into the price, the manager does. Like, hey, so how much exactly we're looking to get for the property? Okay, so you don't like if they don't have a price, be like, okay, so you don't even have like a range you would want to get any like 10, 20K range. Um, and then if they say no, like be like, hey, I mean, you kind of go for no again. Like it sounds like you're not ready to sell. I'm not too serious. You don't even have a price. But like they say that they give you like a price, we want to give them like a small price anchor, because if they're over here, once we price anchor them, you're gonna drop their expectations. So you got to be careful on how you do it. And I'll do it based on the seller like personality. So the way that we do it is like, hey, just to let you know, I see other investors, and keep in mind, this is by no means our offer. This is what I can see that these other investors are paying, but I see that they're buying properties at 40 to 50% of Zillow. Like we don't sell 40, 50% of Zillow. We just sell the number. So if Zillow is like 200, like I see some investors paying like 80 to $100,000. If someone offered you that, what would you say? And then, like I said, You want to let them know like it's not your offer. It's just like what they could see, right? And then they're either gonna say like, "Oh no, that's way too low," or "Hell no," and then you kind of reinstate the fact that like, hey, it's not our offer. This is just what other investors are paying. Of course, we would beat that and give you our best offer. And if of course they say yes, well, I mean that's kind of like a layup deal. All you need to do is like put it on the contract. But let's say that they give you the price and be like, hey, thank you for that. Would that be the best thing that you could do? Um, and then something like, hey, I want to make sure that when I present the number to my finance department, I have the best chance of getting it accepted. And then if they say yes, then you're going to go into the expectation for the next call, right? So the result of this is like, if we're a good fit if they have motivation and they're ready to sell. We're not a good fit if they basically want the highest price. There's no motivation. We can let them know like, hey, I don't think we're going to be the best fit right now. I think your best option is to just listen with a realtor or just like hold off to it. What we will do is we'll just follow up in the next 30, 60 days just to check in and then see if anything has changed. And this is my number, right? But if we're a good fit, we let them know exactly, okay, I think that's all the information that I need right now. With that being said, I do believe we would be a great fit to work together. And we would love to get you an offer for the property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an appointment with our home buying specialist. And then what you want to do is give them the name of your closer and then hype them up and be like, oh, I love this guy because X, Y, and Z and whatever. And then you kind of set the appointment for him to call, and then you want the closer to basically reach out and be like, hey, I know you talked to Brian, he said for me to call you this time, just know that I'm gonna call you from this number. Right now, the goal with the appointment call or the process script is for the closer to earn the trust of the seller and to build a rapport in order to negotiate and the permission to give them like a lower offer, right? And then he needs to find out exactly what is the main motivation that we need to solve in order to, get the property under contract. Let's go something like, hey, this is so and so. How you doing today? I'm calling you because I know you talked to Brian. He told me you're interested in selling your property. Yeah. Okay, great. Just to let you know a little bit about what to expect from this phone call. It'll take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And my goal here is to see exactly what's going on with the property. We'll talk about the condition of the property, like the roof, AC, and all that. Some of the things may sound repetitive, but I just want to be sure that I don't miss anything in order to come up with the best solution for your situation. And then after that, I'm going to talk to the partners and they'll let me know what the property qualifies for. All I ask from you is that you're able to give us a confident yes or no decision. If it's something that you would like to move forward with, great. If not, it's not a big deal. At least we gave it our best shot and you know exactly what your options look like. Does that sound fair enough? They're like, yeah, okay, great. Well, Mr. Seller, I'm glad I got a hold of you today. We actually just sold some properties where we had the funds available to purchase another one. So hopefully your house is a good fit for us. With that being said, if we look into your property and we come to an agreement for it, you're definitely ready to sell it, right? So we just like reconfirming the urgency. And then this is when he digs deeper into the motivation, and you want to ask the motivation question like a different way. Be like, oh, I mean, what even has you thinking about selling like right now? And then you want to use Socratic questions to dive deep into the motivation, kind of like the things that I shared on the previous script, like, hey, how long has this been going on? How's that making you feel? And usually the pain is going to fall into different motivation categories like financial, emotional, spiritual, physically, mentally, how they spend their time with relationships. Is it holding them back from achieving a goal? Maybe it's extreme pleasure. They have no motivation, or they're usually moving away from pain or towards pleasure. And then you want to dig deep into the motivation and get them talking about what's going on and what we need to do in order to solve that. And then we're going to dig deeper into the property condition. Like now we ask more detailed questions. Okay, what's the age of the bathrooms and remodeling's done in the kitchen, flooring, windows, kind of like all that shebang. That way we can get the rehab amount. And then we're going to go into the roadblocks once again. Hey, I know that you said that your wife is involved here. She on this phone call. You always want to be sure that the decision makers are in this phone call. That way you build rapport with the both of them, and you address any smoke screens or nonchalant like language, non-committal language. So it's best to always have them there. And then if you know someone else is going to be involved or they need to talk to a lawyer after this, all this, at least you know about it. But after you have that confirmed, you go into the timeline and be like, hey, One thing that people love about working with us is that we're flexible with a closing timeline. And I know that everyone's situation is different. We typically can close between 21 to 24 days. Some people love that. Some people need more time. But what kind of timeline will work best for you and your family? And then you let them tell you. If you think the property qualifies for like novation, you can plant the seed here and be like, hey, I think this property may qualify for one for special programs. So if they tell you something like 60, 90 days timeline, I mean, that works. So you just want to plant the seed and let them know like, hey, once I give you the cash offer, I'll let you know what this other program entails. That way you have the full picture. Okay. Okay, great. And then you want to dig into the discomfort. Hey, let's assume that you decide that you like our offer and you want to move forward. What would be the next thing that you need to figure out, if anything? So they would say something like, "Oh, I need to find out where I'm going to go to, or what I'm going to do with my stuff, or just need to dig deep about like the full picture, what's going on, and find out what we need to solve before moving forward." We actually had a seller that she didn't want to sign because her he was in a fight with the son, and the son wasn't going to help her move. So we asked this question, and we just like rented a the movers, and they charged me like $800, and they took care of everything. So this is why it's important to uncover any discomfort questions. And then you want to talk about the money. Hey, based on everything you told me about, and you dealing with X, Y, and Z, if we were able to do X, Y, and Z, and I know the property condition, how much would you need in your pocket in order to solve your X, Y, and Z problem? Okay. And if we're able to do all of that without closing costs and commissions and the repairs, well, is that the best price? Because what you want is for them to go lower. So after you have that, you want to go into the setting the expectations for the next call. Be like, hey, okay, I believe that's all the information I need right now. Do you find this on Facebook? Okay, check out the page for the reviews, all that. With that being said, what I'm going to do is take 20, 30 minutes to talk to the finance team and see what the property qualifies for. Then I'm going to give you a call back. Usually it takes 5, 10 minutes or however long you need. Um, but I'll let you know what it looks like if you decide to work with us, and let you know what the property qualifies for. All I ask from you is that you're able to give us a confident yes or no decision, and a no, it's perfectly okay. With that being said, do you have any questions for me? And be like, okay, well, I'll call you at 6. Okay, great. So now you set up the offer call. Now with the offer call, is when the heavy work starts. This is when you basically start negotiating. So if you build that trust and all that, you become the trusted advisor. So this is kind of how the offer call goes. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is so and so. You have 5 minutes for a quick conversation. Great. So I spoke with the partners. They let me know what the property qualifies for. But before I talk to you about that, they would like for me to let you know what it looks like if you do decide to work with us. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, great. And then also at the end of our conversation, after I let you know what the property qualifies for, do you feel like you will have enough information to make a confident yes or no decision? Maybe something like, oh, yeah, depending on the offer, I'll be able to let you know. Okay, great. And then also, if you decide that you don't want to work with us, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Great. So, first, I'll let you know what the property qualifies for. And if you do decide that you want to move forward, then I will send you over a written offer to your email, and we would go through it together. It usually takes 5 to 10 minutes or however long you need. But once I get your autograph on the written offer, we would schedule a walkthrough to take photos and confirm the condition. And after that, our transaction coordinator will be in contact with you and put you in touch with a title company. And after the title clears, that's when the closing will be scheduled. Do you have any questions about that? No? Okay. Are all the decision makers here in the call? Your husband, your wife, whatever? Yeah, okay. So about the property, you need to summarize their motivation. I know you're dealing with X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z, right? And then you want to address the roadblocks. So whatever you found out, you just want to present it again. And then you want to say something along the lines of like, okay, so as I said before, this is what you're going to walk away with in your pocket minus your mortgage, liens, and the property taxes. But besides that, you don't have to pay any closing costs. We're going to cover those. You don't have to pay any realtor commissions, and the property will be sold as is, which means that you do no repairs and you do no cleaning, and we'll also be able to move on your timeline. Now, with whenever we underwrite these deals is we always give the first offer 20 to 30K below the max allowable offer. That's because we have a median price of 230. So that's something that works for us. So if you're in a higher price area, just be lower than that in order to negotiate. But what you want to do is, okay, with that being said, the property qualifies for, okay, 20K below your max allowable offer. And then this is when you start negotiating. They're either going to say, nah, it's too low, or they're going to say no. And then you can say something along the lines like, oh, off the record, how much were you hoping to get at least? and then you want to do like two more like price rebuttals before pitching the innovation strategy and be like, hey, we may not be the best fit, but what do you think we should do? So you can get some fact finding from there, and then be like, hey, so even if I was able to come up, I don't know, call it like five, 10, $15,000, that still probably wouldn't be enough. Okay, I understand. So I know that you want to be along this or this range. Um, so let's say like in a perfect world, we were able to do, and this is when you present your final range closer to your MAO, that still wouldn't work. And they'll be like, oh no, I would need to be at this. Let's say they started like 150 and be like, oh no, I need to be at like 135. Now, let's say on a property that's worth like 200 and needs like 30K rehab, you would probably need to be anywhere with 100 to like 115 cash. But with the MLS pitch novation, what you could do is offer way more money, because for that same offer that you were at like 115, you could do probably like 130. And if you sell it for like 155, 160, you're still making 15 to 20 grand, depending on how much commissions you pay, right? So what we want to do is, okay, let's say that they give you the price they want to be at and be like, hey, Mr. Seller, it seems like this number is very important to you. And I do believe we have a way that we can get close to that. But I would just need for you to be flexible with me on two things. One would be I would need additional access to the property. And two, I would need for you to be flexible on the closing date. And then you want to let them know exactly why it is that you can pay more and be like, hey, we actually came up with this program. It's called the Equity Protection Program. And the reason why we came up with this is because sellers love the idea of working with us and like an investor. And for them not having to pay the closing costs or deal with realtors or commissions. But what they don't like a lot of the times is the price. So we thought, okay, how can we still help our sellers and still make a profit? So that's why we come up with a program. Then basically all of the properties that we buy, where we're reselling, and we have a huge book of business. We have anywhere from 3 to 5,000 people with agents, investors, and retail buyers that want our properties. So basically, what we could do is we help these people get into the property, and what we can do is offer you more money than the cash, because we're helping them get into the property. And they, a lot of the times, they're paying us like a contractor fee in order to remodel the property on their behalf, or just by helping them get into the property. And since we do a ton of these, it's very easy for us to get a buyer and close in this timeline range, and we can give you that much more than the cash. And typically, like if some of these people that we get into the property, we just need to schedule those times in order for them to come and see the property. That's why we need the flexibility on the access into the property. And then typically we help them with the financing and all that, and be sure that we get you that price. So if I was able to do these two things and get you more money, would you be interested in this program? What we want is for them to say yes, and then kind of get a commitment on their behalf. So I know that you were at this price, but basically, let's say that they were like 135, be like, okay, if I could do 125 and close in 60 days, would that be okay? And you just want to negotiate and come up to a deal. So if you know that your max level offer is like 135 on innovation, you could probably pitch anywhere from 120 to like 130. And the lower that you get it, the more money that you make. You just need to underwrite your deals in order to insert that. Um, and then to give them more context, like by the additional access, like I said, we're going to schedule these at pre-scheduled times. As long as you give us the approval, we can get these people, and they're usually going to be accompanied by agents to do some of the walkthroughs. So they have a fiduciary duty to help them. And this adds an extra layer of security. So your neighbor, Susie, is not going to be going on there. It's only pre-qualified people that we know have the funds and they're ready to close. And that's how we set up the additional access. And like if they ask you like, hey, what do you need this much access, you let them know like, hey, we're gonna market the property to be sure that we get it done at this price. So what we want is to make sure we sell it as quick as possible, and we have like I said, all these people that already want to work with us. So this is the way that we do it in order to make this happen. If they say no to the access, I mean, just stick to the cash price. It's like if they want to have their price, it's got to be in your terms. If not, it's got to be on your terms, right? But after that, like let's say you make a deal, be like, okay, great. Let me ask what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna talk to my finance team and see if they approve this. So what I'm gonna do is put you on hold and see if I can talk to them. So put them on hold 2 3 minutes and be like, hey, they were wanting to do 125, but what I'm gonna do, because I really like you, I'm gonna put $5,000 from my pocket in order to get you at 130. So congrats, your offer was accepted. And then you want to go into the purchase agreement call. Let them know like, hey, I'm gonna take 20 minutes to type up the written agreement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call you back and then we're going to review it together. It'll take 5 minutes or however long you need. We'll review everything and make sure that you don't have any questions. And then the goal is that you're 100% comfortable with everything and walk you through the process once again. With that being said, are you available in the next 15 minutes? You're going to have access to your email? Yes or no? Okay. Schedule a time and then you call them and then you go over the contract with them together. It's very important. You never send out the contract on their own. You always want to walk them through it. And over 100, over 100 deals that we've done, we've always freaking done the contract with them. So to make sure that they don't have any questions. So make sure that you always review the agreement with them. And then here is some of post offer objections that you can just like read through. Like let's say that decision makers are not present, then don't give out the offer. Or like if they want something higher than that, maybe you can just price it up in order to make the deal happen. If you make 10, 15 grand, I mean, you already have the lead, so might as well just squeeze it. Or they have like other offers where you want is like scorch the earth and be like, okay, who are these people? Are they even local? What's the terms of the offer? All that. So if you did your job and build a rapport, you're going to be able to close more deals. And then here is just some of the other rebuttals that they usually have, which you can just like read through this. But this is basically all of our sales process, and we're able to get like over $100,000 per month with just like a couple of deals. And basically, a lot of people, like I said, I see them failing because they don't have like a system of how to do things. Now, you basically have two options. You could just take this and try to implement it on your own, or you can get our help where you implement the marketing system to get cheap leads, cheap appointments, and cheap cost per deal so that you can make 15, 20K plus per deal. Or you can get our help, implement all of this with the marketing, the sales process, walk you through everything with the actual purchase contracts, all of that, and help you scale much faster. So with that being said, if you're interested in working with us, click on the link down below. Let's schedule a call and get you set up with our systems to see if you qualify. And if not, watch this next video and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.